David Bowie, Slow Burn, yeah. Quite a Eno trilogy feel about it, Lodger and sort of Low type, yeah. But, yeah.
Enjoyable.
Now, okay. That's stressful, isn't it? I think we've got things working now. We've had people coming in and out, just shaking their head going, shouldn't have bought that desk. But it's all sorted now, I think. And,
you notice how it took, about 25 minutes for them to come down as well, though? Do you feel like we're maybe quite low in the pecking order in the building?
Definitely.
You know, it's like Capital First, Capital Gold. They can shoot off to other sort of pirate stations. People's car radios, then they come back here.
Oh, dear. Oh, I had a job at Richard Sounds. Light fitting was buzzing. Now, but we've got, thanks for staying, listening. Right, okay, educating Ricky. What have we got? Airy Chinese kid, go on.
Right, yeah. This is the, I didn't want to do this.
What do you didn't want to do it?
Well, I wanted to give you 3, and I gave you one. It was like the alien man gets a beard or whatever.
Yeah, which was total rubbish, so this one should be better, maybe.
Hairy Chinese kid. Right, well, we've talked about airy people in the past.
True enough.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, the little kids who grew up in woods and hung around with wolves and that.
Yeah, again, you're confusing it. Yeah, they're not. There were some people that were born very hirsute. They were not the people who were brought up with wolves. You just put that together in your Homer Simpson type mind.
Right. Well, this is like a sort of close to that sort of story.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is, right? Chinese people aren't that hairy as a nation. No, seriously, that's a well-known fact. They don't have that much body hair and stuff.
Okay.
So this little kid who was born over there, he was like covered in stuff.
Was he?
And it was only his nose that wasn't hairy. The rest of his body was caked in hair, right? And his hair sort of
What sort of hair was it? Was
thick, thick hair.
No, what I mean is, was it sort of like a pony's mane, so he just looked like an Ewok? You know what I mean? Just like hanging down sort of straight, dark hair.
In the picture, it looked like it grows from his eyebrow. It grows from his eyebrows quite thick, and then it just goes all the way over his head.
You don't think it was just really long eyebrows that he'd done a comb over?
No, it was all over his body. It had a picture of like his back and that.
Yeah.
And
had he styled it? Had he styled it at all? Did he have it in a quiff or?
No, it was just
hanging
all over him.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know, this is a bit weird. Happening in China, where we're not normally that airy.
That was the scientist speaking there.
Yeah.
And the local press and that were getting him down, calling him monkey boy and all this.
Oh.
And
thinking Chinese press.
But the doctor,
yeah. Oh,
they're cruel, aren't they? It's like those game shows.
well,
That's Japanese, isn't it?
yeah.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
and the doctor said,
I was talking through all that time while we were just like talking to each other then. Because I turned round and I still saw he was talking. Go on.
So anyway, the local press came in to see the hairy boy, the monkey boy.
and they were like being tight, taking the mickey out of him, and the doctor said,
showing him nuts.
said he's only airy. Said he's a healthy young kid. The only faults he's got is he's got a little bit of eczema and a boil. And he said everybody should just treat him the same, and I think he grew up a healthy kid. Yeah, so that's the
That's
the end of the story.
That's not a story.
why?
But I've got nothing. I don't know what to say to that. So someone in China was born slightly hairier than the rest, and he was normal apart from eczema and a boil. That to me isn't a story. But if it is, I've got a million. I mean, it's sort of like bloke from Manchester went a bit bolder than the rest, got a job on radio. He was normal. I mean, that's not a story, is it? Do you know what I mean?
All right then.
Hang on.
Hold on, he's got the big guns. You're not going to give us hanging bacon, are you?
Yeah.
Come on then.
Right.
Come on.
This is the one we've been looking forward to. This is it.
No, this is a good one.
This is the one.
And this is a story, right? Do you know the saying, chewing the fat?
Good one. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Talking.
Right. Well, do you know where it came from?
No.
Right, what they used to do years ago, when people didn't have much money...
Is this the same as throwing the baby out with the bathwater?
No, it's not it's not the same saying, but it's...
No, but I mean, is it as wrong as that was?
Well, let me tell you, and we'll
Go
see.
on. Okay.
Like, people go out to work, and with the money, they'd buy food.
Oh yeah, go on. This is a good system. What? Go on. What do you mean? People go out to work and with the system.
And if you were quite well off, you might treat your family to some bacon. right? But do you know, like in these days, if people earn a lot of money, they might buy a nice suit or a car.
Yeah. So what are you saying? You're saying wait, let me get this straight. You're saying that you go out to work and get money to buy things to live, and if you get sort of enough money to live and you've got some left over, you might treat yourself on like a suit or a car or something. Is that what you're...
Yeah.
Oh,
but back then, if you earned money, they'd say...
This is olden times.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get some bacon in, right? And what they'd do, they'd hang it in the kitchen.
What, to show it off?
To show it off to all the neighbours and friends. Because if you had hanging bacon, it was like, he's doing all right for himself.
Yeah.
Some lovely bacon.
So they had loads of bacon hanging up, and people would come round, right? And whilst they stood in the kitchen talking about whatever they're talking about...
In olden times.
They'd say, do you want a bit of rind? And they'd rip a little bit of rind off, and whilst they're having a chit-chat...
Chewing the
they'd
fat.
chew on the rind.
Well, I think that's probably true.
And
I
it's
haven't
like-
heard that, but that one to me sounds true. Do you see the difference between that one and a man was abducted and grew a beard? Can you see the difference in
Yeah, but
why I
different-
accept that story?
Different stories for different things.
Different stories for different things. So, see, that's a nice story. If it's true, I don't know if it's true. I mean, but it seems totally possible, viable, quite interesting. I won't be quoting that myself until I verified it. But that's, you know, I won't be telling anyone the bloke got in the car and he had a full-faced beard. Why has his car been towed away?
Because it was a quiet road.
Was it?
Wasn't in the way. So.
Are you filling in the blanks again? That wasn't in the book, was it, that you read? See, this is the thing. Sometimes I think you make up bits of the story as though they were fact. That doesn't seem right.
Well, that's all you can do, innit? So that's educating Ricky. Will we
Brilliant.
do that next week?
That is brilliant.
No, I think
Carl.
that was good. I did. I mean, I enjoyed that. I learned something from that.
I mean, I want to get I mean, this is all from one book, is it?
Yeah.
That's an interesting book.
With the, I don't want to dwell on it, but with the hairy Chinese kid, what did they say about that? What was the, I mean, was it once there was born a kid who was slightly more hairy than everyone else, but it's all right, he only had a boil. Oh, how did they word it? How did this capture your imagination?
There was a
Well,
picture.
it was a picture that grabbed me first of all,
Sure.
and it was like, God, what's up with him? And that's when I read it.
Did you see the boil and the eczema or just the hair?
No, you see, because his face is like, just under his eyes is sort of nice and smooth, and his nose is sticking out, and that's not hairy. But the rest of him, it looked like he had a sort of a balaclava on or something. And then I read on, and it's like, this is a hairy kid in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Okay, good. Anything else in there? Because, I mean, I like that.
No, we'll do more of that next week.
How is that alongside, hanging bacon, alien abduction, a hairy Chinese kid, and a little interesting fact about the derivation of a phrase?
What do you mean?
He didn't understand a word of that. I knew the word derivation was going to cause problems. I thought derivation shouldn't have come out.
No, I wasn't disputing. He's all smug because he just had a phone call. That was, Beck, lost cause. Go on, tell him why you're all smug.
Because Adrian just called up.
Yeah.
After hearing the story about the Chinese kid.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, that's true. He said that there was a TV programme on it.
Yeah.
He had a chromosome defect.
Yeah.
And it made him hairy. And his mum and dad used to have to shave him. That wasn't in the book. But, thinking about it, that's not a good move anyway, is it? Because they say that for women, if you get a few hairs on your top lip, don't shave it because it'll grow back thicker and faster. So...
Right.
They should just, let him be
They should have just said, well, let's see how bad it gets. But if they went in there straight away, if he came out as a baby and a little bit hairy, they should have left it, maybe, for a little bit. But Adrian called up and said, yeah, he was hairy, he was
Yeah,
all
but
right.
we weren't disputing there was a Chinese kid born slightly hairier than the rest.
We were disputing the fact that you didn't actually tell us a story. You just told us a
And
sort
what
of
we are
selection of
disputing
facts.
is that man was abducted by aliens for 3 days and grew a beard.
Yeah.
That's definitely not true.
No,
We don't know about chewing the fat, but it sounds quite viable.
Yeah.
You see, the difference is between me and Steve and you is that what we believe isn't random. Do you know what I mean? It's not random. The things that...
we don't believe stuff just because it's interesting.
It's not every other thing we believe and every other thing we don't.
Well,
sort
I
of
think
like-
Carl believes stuff if it's interesting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
If he thinks, oh, intriguing. Fact.
He said to me on the, before you got a minute, he said, that Ollie's record, he ain't Evie's my brother, what's that about then? And I went, I don't know, I heard, It was about someone who had a disabled brother, and he was lifting him in and out of a car or something, and someone said, "Oh, do you want a hand?" And he went, "No, he's not heavy, he's my brother." I.e., this isn't a burden for me.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes.
Carl, what did you say?
I'd say
No, I'll tell you what he said. He went, "That's ridiculous, he was still heavy." And he said, "And don't turn down help."
which we were talking about that because a new feature we're starting about this time every week.
Oh, yeah.
We start about this time every week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do. That song's got a good story.
Okay.
Yeah, love it, snappy. Go on, go on,
And
go on.
there's loads of songs out there, isn't there, with songs that you couldn't fade out. When you hear them on the radio and that, you don't want anyone to talk over the start or the end.
Yeah,
because
oh,
it's a-
but remember we did this once before with Killing a Georgie by Rod Stewart.
Yep.
And I was a bit worried that it might have been a true story because we were, you know, joking about it. And he went, "Oh, you know that Killing a Georgie?" He went, "I think it is a true story." I went, "Why?" He went, "I listened to it again, and Rod Stewart at the beginning says this is one of my best friends." So it's brilliant, isn't it? It's genius.
So there's loads of songs out there, and what I want to do, we want to get the audience involved in this. So if you've got like a favourite song that's got a really good
if you've got an
story,
audience,
well,
yeah, go on.
and they email in ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk, and they say what the song is now.
What would examples be then?
Examples, ones that jump to mind straight away for me: Elvis, In the Ghetto,
Yeah, good one.
brilliant.
Andrew Gold, Lonely Boy.
Absolutely.
Don't know that one.
Eminem, Stan.
Right? Yeah, good one. You couldn't fade it out, could you? Because you go, well, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And that's what I'm saying. Not just any sort of pop song that keeps repeating itself. And, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it skips or, you know what I mean, if you turn the radio off.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about
Ernie,
songs.
the fastest milkman in the world.
Yeah, that is a good story. That is a good story. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you know that one?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, well, it's a
Two-tone-
story, yeah.
Ted from Teddington, he drove the baker's van.
Well,
Oh.
So what have we got then? Have we got one
so we're going to kick it off today with Stevie Wonder, Living Just Enough for the City.
Okay.
And, just briefly.
Sum it up. Right,
Yeah.
if you haven't, if you are nipping out, maybe you're in the car and you're about to pull up somewhere and get out. What it's all about is a lad who's growing up in like America in some rough area, right? And he's trying his best to do well and get a job and everything, but because of where he's from, it's stopping him doing that, right? It's like how I grew up on an estate in Manchester. I had to leave there and come to London to do all right for myself,
Yeah.
right? And it's his whole family, and it's a tale of like how his man works dead hard and works loads of hours, but the kids are always well dressed and cleaned. It doesn't mean just because you haven't got a good job, you let your house run down. Do you know what I mean? She's looking after it. The sister, you know, she hasn't got new clothes, but they're always clean, and her knees are clean, I think it says in one point.
Excellent. Clean knees, always
so,
important.
So will we give it a listen? Let everyone
Brilliant,
hear
it's
it?
a
Well, I
great
don't
track.
think Stevie can do it justice. After that explanation.
Right, so
Oh,
I'm not sure he's
I
going
hope
to
he
top
uses
that.
like some sort of like backing tune to try and.
Try and pep it up a bit, because
Yeah.
you have really knocked it the socks off
so-
it.
Brilliant. I'm looking forward to the
right,
clean
here we go
knees.
then. It's a new feature.
What is it called again?
The story in that song's really good. Here's Stevie Wonder.